Major Juan Soto update for the New York Mets. They seem poised to acquire the superstar outfielder, and we know that Steve Cohen will not be outbid, and a lot of reporters around the situation are saying the exact same thing, so we'll break that down and much more on this episode of 3 Up, 3 Down. Welcome in, everybody, to 3 Up, 3 Down. I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, and today we're going to be breaking down some more Juan Soto news for the New York Mets. But before we get into all of that, I want to let you know that a large percentage of you watching these videos are not subscribed to the channel, so go ahead and hit that sub button. It'd mean the world to me. And let's get straight into the video. Let's not waste any time here. And this was Jon Heyman, who was in a TV interview here, and he was asked who would be the favorites right now, and I'll pop that up so you guys could see that. Right now, I'd say the Mets, followed by the Blue Jays, would be my guess today. And Jon Heyman, love him or hate him, this guy gets things right. Apart from the arson judge thing that we saw a couple of years ago in the offseason, he's been pretty spot on with all of his reporting, and he's as connected as pretty much anybody in the Major League Baseball world, so I would not doubt Jon Heyman for a second, even though for me personally as a Blue Jay fan, I'm not the biggest fan of the guy for the whole way that Ohtani situation went down, but Jon Heyman is legit. He knows what he's talking about, and he knows that the Mets right now will not be outbid, and Steve Cohen is going to do whatever he can to land the superstar outfielder in Queens. And Ken Rosenthal basically said the same thing. The most likely scenario is Juan Soto to the Mets, and that is really starting to gain traction here. We heard that a formal offer was made. May have been debunked, may be true, we don't know. Scott Boras tends to hold things close to his chest here, and he's not going to divulge too much information. But the fact is that the Mets, as it stands presently, are in the driver's seat to acquire Juan Soto. And if you're a Mets fan, I think that is an absolute treat to hear, especially considering how close they were last year to going on another miracle run to the World Series. So it would have been nice to see the Mets go all the way, but I think them not getting there and coming up just short will give them that little extra push and want to go all the way to get Juan Soto, and I definitely think they will. The Mets have their eyes set on free agent superstar Juan Soto. After owner Steve Cohen and Mets brass met with Soto and his agent Scott Boras this past weekend in California, with the discussion reportedly being productive, Yankees play-by-play broadcaster Michael Kay believes the Mets are the favorites to land the 26-year-old outfielder. And this article continues here. During his ESPN New York radio show on Monday, the longtime Yankees broadcaster reported that the Mets may end up outbidding any team for Soto after meeting with multiple teams this past weekend. This bold statement comes after former Mets infielder Carlos Baerga indicated on Saturday that the initial offer to Soto was $660 million, and knowing Scott, he's going to want it to be over $700 million, because no matter what it's worth, the benchmark now is the $700 million the Dodgers gave Ohtani, Michael Kay said on his radio show. And we continue even further here. With Soto seeking a potential record-breaking contract, Kay believes that it won't matter if the Yankees do end up offering the superstar slugger a $700 million deal, because Cohen could exceed that number by $50 million. And then I've heard from somebody in baseball today that Cohen's willing to go $50 million over whatever anybody offers. So it looks like the Mets really want to get this guy. And as we know, Soto is coming off a great first season with the Yankees, and maybe his only season as a Yankee. 288 batting average, 419 on base, 569 slug, with career-high 41 home runs and 109 RBIs, 157 regular season games. So talk about setting the table for a very hefty contract going into free agency. Juan Soto did all he could with the New York Yankees this year. He was their best player in the playoffs as well. He exceeded expectations, and the Yankees needed that big move heading into the season because they had to get over the hump, and their team just wasn't good enough. It was Aaron Judge and then pretty much everybody else, although you could argue Giancarlo Stanton has been their best player in the playoffs when the Yankees do get there. But it wasn't enough. You needed a little bit more insulation around Aaron Judge. They went out and got that in the best form possible. They could have got Ohtani. I guess that would have been better than Soto there. But still, Juan Soto, one of the top hitters in the game of baseball today, definitely was the right move to make for the New York Yankees, and I think it paid off. They didn't end up going all the way. They didn't win the World Series, but the fact that they got there and they sort of restored some of that Yankee legacy that we've been talking about that hasn't really shown up in the past decade or so. I think that was important for the team, and I thought prior to the offseason that would give them a leg up, but I'm not so sure about that anymore. I mean, Soto, shout out to him, but I don't know if he's moved. I don't know if he's moved by a World Series appearance. We got to remember that he already has his ring, so that is something that we have to keep a reminder of. He's won already. He knows what it takes to win at the big league level. The only thing really missing is an MVP award, and I'm sure that he will get that someday. Maybe not in the National League with Shohei Ohtani in the fold and all of the great players that are playing in the NL right now, but I think he'll have a shot. He'll definitely finish in the top 5 year in, year out. That's the kind of player that Soto is. So it's going to be very interesting to monitor this entire situation. I ultimately think he's going to end up signing with the New York Mets. I don't know if $660 million is the dollar figure that we are talking about here, but it seems to be a legit number that was thrown out there by Carlos Baerga, and it's not out of the realm of possibility. I actually think that that's the baseline. That is the starting point for Juan Soto and what he'll want to get in free agency. But let me know in the comments down below what you guys think he will go out there and get. Will it be $700 million? Will it be $750 million to break the Ohtani contract record? I truly don't know, and I don't even know if Steve Cohen knows at this point how far he's willing to go to get this guy. But at that point, if you're at that $650 million mark, you might as well go to $750 if you're Steve Cohen. Money is just an object, and to him, it truly is an object. I wish that were a problem for me in life, but it's not, unfortunately. But for Steve Cohen, one of the richest owners in baseball, the owner of the New York Mets, that is not really an issue that he's thinking about right now. It's not about the money here. It's about acquiring one of the best players in the game of baseball that will take his team over the hump. So let me know in the comments down below. What do you guys think? Do you see Soto signing with the Mets? Do you think it's imminent, or do you think he's going to wait until the winter meetings? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you all tomorrow.